peace, and abundance, Soul Tribe, and welcome to another episode of Kitchen Conversations. We are swapping out Mindfulness Mondays a little bit and just kind of taking it in a different turn, just kind of adding a little bit of excitement. And today we have a very special guest in the building, none other than my father, Chef Tim. He's going to be joining me with some conversations. I'm going to be making a simple salad. I tend to make this salad and post it on my social media handles all the time. A sister that I follow, Alkaline Doula, she kind of put me on to it. And when I tried it, I was like, this is it. So I'm going to be making it and telling you the benefits of it. And we have a chef in the house to just kind of share some of his tips. And we're going to be just sharing some good combos. So it's going to be a good show tonight. I thank y'all for joining us. But without further ado, let me introduce the man of the hour, Chef Tim. Tell the people about what you do, who you are, all that good job.
Hey, baby girl. Well, of course, you introduced me. I'm Chef Tim, your dad. Well, what I do is I'm a chef. That's what I do. I've been doing it in upwards around 42 years now, and it's all I've ever done.
So what got you into cooking?
You know what? Eating. When I was young, way before you. My mom, to me, the best cook. I've had many culinary instructors. I've had all kind of culinary assistants. The best cook I've ever been around was my mom. Wow. And whenever she got in the kitchen and got that kitchen smelling, it got me intrigued. I wanted to see what created that smell. I set a few pots on fire, tore up a few things, got a few whippings, but I but I stuck with it, and really the rest was history. I joined the military, right? Mm-hmm. Say in 1979. When I joined the military, I actually went in as a watercraft engineer. I didn't like that job, but my barracks mate was a cook. He had this little burner set up in the barracks, and we never went to the mess hall or anything. We always cooked our own food. And man, this guy, he was outstanding cook. And under his tutelage, and with his influence, I totally changed my classification from being a watercraft engineer to being a cook. Some would say, what a change. And I'll tell you what, ended up being the best change of my life. Yeah. And that's where I got my culinary certification. I did my little stint in the military. And when I got out of there, the rest is history. That's where I've been ever since.
So what kept you in the kitchen? I know a lot of people fall in love with what they love to do, and life takes turns, and what kept you in the kitchen? What's the reason for you saying, hey, I'm gonna always be here, this is a part of me, this is what I love to do, and I'm sticking with it?
You just said it. It's what I love to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me give you an example. Certain things that I like doing, I have to feel like doing. Yeah. When it comes to cooking, I can do it at spur of the moment, spontaneously, because I just love it and it comes natural. It's just the love of it.
So it's like therapy.
Girl, I couldn't have put a better word on it.
That's it right there.
It's very therapeutic.
What you cook today?
What I cooked today? Mm-hmm. I did a sweet and sour rice today. With fried rice, egg rolls, just something simple.
Okay.
Yeah, real simple.
You're gonna have to hook me up some vegan food. I heard you wanted to transition, go vegan with me.
Who told you that? Hey. Hey, all kidding aside, the only problem I see with vegan food, actually, I don't see any problem. The only problem I would have with it Is it like a meat? You know, and I'm a protein fanatic. But I've seen some real, I mean, real well appetized vegan dishes. They look good. I've tasted a few, they were different,
Yeah.
but I could see some that I could get used to, but yeah, you know, but you know, I tell you what, vegan food is getting to be a trend now. You
I
know.
think I think it's more trendy than anything. And I'm not
Mhm.
100% vegan. I'm not. I was teasing. I know. Like I look at your posts, and I know that you love me, so I'm not taking jabs. I'm teasing. But I feel like a lot of vegan foods. I feel like being vegan is a trend. I feel like people do it because people who they follow or they look up to or inspire them are vegan. But I don't. I honestly think that people should really follow a diet that they feel comfortable with, that works for their body. Anytime your body is feeling deprived and starved and not feeling good, then you're not gonna feel good. So I just say if you eat food, study how your body feel after you eat it. So I know that's not for everybody, but a lot of the vegan food, it seems like they just knocking off like regular, like the vegan burgers. Okay, that's fine. But then you got people making vegan fried chicken. I've seen somebody wrap a fake bone with some tofu and make a fried chicken wing. It's not that like you probably just want meat. Just eat the meat. Don't put yourself through all of that. Like
Yeah.
and I think that's what makes it weird because they try to recreate these foods that aren't really vegan and make them vegan and make them appetizing or taste good. And it's not the same thing. There's no substitute for a burger. I'm sorry. A burger is a burger. You can get things that may be, good seconds or thirds, but a burger just has that taste. Vegan steak, what is that? Just go get you a steak, baby. Just go have a steak. That's how I
Well,
feel.
well, you know, that's true, and not only that, and I'll tell you a part of it that a lot of people probably never even thought about. It's also dangerous, for the
Mhm.
simple fact is that when they go to creating in public, it's about capitalism and making money, and a lot of this stuff people don't even know what's in it because the FDA's guidelines are so loose now to where they'll put a stamp of approval. FDA, USDA, they'll put a stamp of approval almost on anything,
Yeah.
and a lot of it while it's still in trial, so you have to be very careful about stuff like that. You have to know what you're getting and what you're putting in you.
That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
And because a lot of people, even with the organic stuff, I'm glad you said that about how the FDA have put the stamp of approval on anything. People feel
Mm-hmm.
like when they get organic foods that they're getting the best of the best. Sometimes it doesn't even mean that it's pesticide free. It means that it meets the FDA standards of being
Exactly.
organic. So it's not truly organic. I feel like the only truly organic way to be organic for real and know what your food contains is to grow it yourself. And you got a
Mm-hmm.
garden, right?
Oh yeah.
What you grow?
Man, whatever I can plant. But mostly I mainly concentrate on growing my own herbs. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, I'm so herbs to me distinguishes chefs.
Yeah.
Herbs and spices. Yeah. Now, and I normally vary, depends on how I feel from year on my vegetables. I may grow some tomatoes, squash, zucchini. Then the next year I'll grow something else. So that varies, but I'm always doing up on my herbs.
And you in the South, so you got good growing time, right? I'm new to this. First of all, I'm new to cooking. Let me tell y'all
Hmm.
this. I didn't start cooking till I was good and grown. Like I made like ready meals. Like on my house, we made like sloppy joes and stuff like that because I had brothers and sisters. We had to cook. I was also a teen mom, so I had to get in the kitchen, but it wasn't really cooking. Um,
Right.
as I got older, I wanted to get healthier. And food was like my medicine. So I got in the kitchen and it almost seemed like it came naturally. And just hearing you describe your love for food have like I've always known you've had. And you have some of the most delicious food I've ever tasted. And then I think about my sister April and how good of a cook she is. Like it's in the genes. So I love the kitchen. I don't think I would want to be a chef, but I like to go in the kitchen for therapy when I'm feeling real good. I like to get in the kitchen and really prepare a good meal for the family and just listen to my music and vibe because I feel like in this house, people might call it a little superstitious, but if you're in a bad mood, you can't cook because your energy is being infused in that food. And
Hmm.
you in a stinky mood. We don't want to be food poisoned by your little vibrations. You need to get yourself together. Let somebody who feel better cooking. That's something that we learn. And so I see where that comes from. And I really do think food is healing. And y'all who asking about what I'm chopping up. This is a purple onion. I love these raw. You cook with these pops?
Oh, all the time. It's my favorite onion.
It's your favorite?
Well, that's one of my favorites. My most favorite is Valdelia.
There's a sweet, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
They had a whole festival in Georgia, Vidalia, Georgia, for them onions. So they must be really good. Like they had onion blossom, onion soup, everything onion in Vidalia, Georgia. But I wrote down a few pointers about the purple onion. For me, I love it because it's a good detoxifier. Anytime you feel like you're coming down with something, purple onion soup just can low boil some onion on the stove or either put it in a fresh salad to get all the nutrients. I like to eat raw foods because you get all of it. When you cook it, anytime you're cooking anything or adding heat to it, you're processing it. I like foods as raw or in its natural form as possible so I can get all the nutrients, right? We just talked about how loose the guidelines are with the FDA. So like you don't really know what you're getting, but I want to get the best of what I'm getting. So I like to start my day with raw foods because I like it to be easy on my digestive system. My stomach recognizes plants and things that are closer to earth. So it makes it easy for my stomach that's just waking up as opposed to maybe getting up and eating pancakes and eggs. And I'm not knocking anybody that do, but for me, it slowed me down. And I got little kids and big kids and I'm doing a lot of stuff. So I need to have that energy and I ain't got time to be getting itis. So I have to have my food for fuel. So I'm chopping up this purple onion, and purple onion is really, really good for respiratory issues too. Really good for respiratory issues. So I'm chopping this up. I'm making my salad. But yeah, pops, let's get back to it. And it's also really good for lowering blood pressure. I like to add that in there because I know a lot of people that follow me and get the teas, they're getting them for their blood pressure, but this is a really good food that's raw, full of nutrients and good for the blood pressure. I mean, food is really healing. I can attest to that firsthand. But yes, let's get down to it. So I know it's been a lot of craziness in the news, and I saw you on TikTok, Pop. You got a TikTok. I don't have a TikTok. I don't know how to work it. So I commend you for that. So you were talking about how like black men, and I was so tickled. I promise you, I must have watched that video like 200 times. Like the whole house was just like, this is it was catchy. It was catchy and it really caught my attention. But you were talking about how people must tell them what you was talking about. Explain the video. You can do it better than me. I don't even want to mess up your words.
Well, it's a video. I'm really, to be honest, not really proud, especially the substance, but it was something that I had to. I just sit up and just ran across my mind because I'm seeing it everywhere, and that's just the mass incarceration of young black men. Yeah, it's worse than COVID. You know what I mean? And what I'm saying is, you look at the reasoning why, and the reasoning why is so simple, but why the people who are being afflicted can't understand it is just baffling. And I was talking with my wife, and I was asking, I said, I kind of think they like it. I said, because for the simple reason they do it, they know the consequences, they know what they're going into, and they constantly do it. I said, that's insanity when you constantly do things over and over again that afflict you, but the young guy's doing it. But it's really a deeper story than that. I think it's all in conditioning, generational conditioning. Thanks. And when you look at it, the young guys are actually they're actually being set up, to be part of that system. And a lot of the being set up is within our own families.
Okay. I didn't expect that one. So I was like, when I hear about being set up, I think about systematic oppression. I think about prison pipeline. Like, tell me about like how you feel like that, like how family kind of puts you in a place to be in that position.
Well, because I mean the system. That's undeniable. The system is jacked, as far as oppression. But I don't totally blame it on the system. The system now is a mere tool that society uses, and what they do is, I figure it starts in the home. in the house. You know, give you an example. When I was coming up, my mom didn't give us time for any nonsense. We always had something to do, you
Mm.
know, and whatever we did was constructive. And until I was old enough to buy my own things, buy my own roof, whether I liked it or not, I listened. And they call that values, you know,
Mhm.
and values and morals are something that are just absent now, you know, and you can only have that instilled to me at home. It's got to start at home. And with the way society, and this is what a society has to blame in it. Society has us set up now to where we're always pressed. We're pressed. We keep so much on our plate, so
Yeah.
much to do, trying to get so many things done, and we're overlooking the proper upbringing of our children. You know, and we're putting too much on them. We're putting too much on the young people, too much pressure on them that they can't handle. They're not just not mentally ready to handle it yet, but they try, and a lot of them have to. You know, when you look at the background they're coming from, you know. But the thing about it is, sooner or later, I figure you got to get smart. I see some young cats out there that are very, very bright,
Mhm.
making making just dumb decisions, and that's the part of it that's baffling to me. And I don't have an answer for it. That's why I reach out and ask them. So far, I haven't gotten any answers yet. So I'm still baffled. You got some? You got some answers for me?
I don't have any answers per se, but I have a soon to be 21-year-old, I have a 16-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
and even during the time span of having my older boys to my youngest son, which is just over 4, it's such a difference in upbringing and the times and the things that they're exposed to. And
Mm-hmm.
feel like I feel like family, personal healing plays a huge part in it, because when you heal and you're well, you're able to be whole for your household. Um,
Exactly.
I just feel like there are systems in place that kind of, I don't want to say prevent, because it's not preventing, but makes it challenging for especially like melanated people to maintain a proper structure, not just basic things like a father in the home or a mother that is in, you know, good stable mental health, or not having to work her fingers to the bone just to barely make ends meet. Like there's a lot of things put up against melanated people. And I really don't even want to just say melanated people. It's a lot of people, things I put up against. And I feel like the system plays a part in that role, but I feel like we owe ourselves a personal responsibility. People like to be told. That's something that I see about this culture. Working in healthcare, I see a lot of people who get diagnoses that are astonishing, meaning that they like it's some serious stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
they get put on these complex treatment plans, and they're afraid to even speak up and ask questions. They just want the doctor to just take the lead, and you know what's best for me, and I'm gonna sign it without reading. They don't take personal accountability, and then when adverse things happen, they want to point the finger and point the blame, but they didn't even take the responsibility of educating themselves. And I remember reading somewhere, I think it was a meme somewhere, that was saying, like, if you want to hide stuff from Black people, put it in books. That's a sad truth. Because people don't want to take the time to read. They don't want to take the time to hold themselves accountable for anything. And I feel like that's a programming, but that doesn't mean that you're not capable of breaking that cycle and actually doing what's best for you, and not always relying upon things outside of you to determine what's best for you. We can see where that has gotten us as society as a whole, not being able to speak up for yourselves or make decisions for yourself. That's a place of fear. You know, you want to be able to, nobody knows you better than you. So why would you have people making decisions for you? And I think a lot of choices and decisions have been made for us that put us in predicaments that sending our men to jail.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I totally agree. I mean, I couldn't have put it any better. But and another thing is what these young men don't understand is once that system gets a taste of you, it never lets go. That's a stigma that you're going to carry from now on. Now on, there's no recovery from it. I've seen it. And things that you make, decisions that you make as a young person, well, I mean, you just that you're a young person. And as you get older, you get smarter. But by the time you wise up and figure out that those were really, really, really bad decisions for you, you've already ruined your life. You
Yeah.
know, you've
I think
already.
on purpose too.
I mean, what on purpose?
I think that's on purpose, being
Oh,
that
of
you put,
course.
I mean, I know, okay. You know I have relatives that entered the system that on my mom's side that were young children put
Mm-hmm.
into impossible situations by poverty, just trying to
Mm-hmm.
make ends meet, survival. So they get put in
Mm-hmm.
survival mode. They try to survive and they get caught up in the system so hard on they putting their foot on their neck. And I get
Mm-hmm.
it. So you're trying to uphold the law, you're trying to keep peace and all of that. But a 14-year-old child sentenced to life, I
Mm-hmm.
can't imagine the mistakes I made at 14, and to have to pay for that for the rest of my life is pretty harsh.
Mm-hmm.
Harsh. So I feel like it's a setup.
I mean, you feel right. I mean, I tell you what, this system of ours is very diabolical. Okay, they very cunning. It will lie to you right while looking in your face. I've had it to happen, and how I feel that it's intentional, how I know that it's intentional. You know, they used to have a different way of getting rid of us or keeping us suppressed, but
Mhm.
that way is not. I mean, it never was legal, but it's not acceptable by society no more, and they called it lynching. You know what I mean? And that sounds rather harsh, but I mean that's really the comparative word. In the penal system right now in drugs are the new forms of lynching. You know, if they get you tied up on one of those two, they've got control of you for life. They can pretty well much determine your destiny
Facts.
better than you can. You know, so it's just you just got to ask yourself why. I mean, speaking of preaching to young men, of course, you got to ask yourself why. Don't you want to be the change of that trend? You know, and it seems to me like the trend is just getting only worse. What do you
I
think?
think it's in the music. It's in the culture. Like
Mm-hmm.
I see my oldest son and the things that they listen to. I'm like, how can you? It sounds like nails on a chalkboard to me, but you sit and listen to it. And I even listen to some of the music I used to listen to back in the day, the rap music. It creates like they putting a mantra on for violence, for drug use, like literally repeating the same things over and over. And given what I know about mantras and yoga, that's programming. And then they go out and act out these things that they hear or they see on TV, see their favorite actors doing or their favorite rapper doing, and they ain't even about their life. They actors, they acting. And you
Mm-hmm.
out here putting on a life, and like you said, they're predetermining your destiny. And then by jamming these young kids up so early, like you don't have a chance at going to school because once you become a felon, you can't get student loans. And how you gonna pay for college if you ain't got a job, or can't get a decent job? You can't even get decent housing with the
Yeah.
felony. Sometimes in some areas, it really prevents you from moving forward in life. It creates a whole bridge with equity. And I feel like they put you in this impossible situation. And when you try to make a way out of it, they deem you a criminal, or, they put this target on you as being a thug. And a lot of these people, like I grew up in neighborhoods and also worked at the prison with a lot of people I went to high school with and saw a lot of those brothers that were really good people
Mm-hmm.
incarcerated simply by just trying to put food on the table or trying
Mm-hmm.
to, I remember child support. Oh my God, it was so many people like trying to trying to keep their license. They out here selling drugs, trying to keep their license because their license gets suspended, they can't work. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
system. Like I've never seen it's crazy that you're gonna lock somebody up for can't paying child support. Well, how the heck they gonna pay the child support if they in jail? It don't make sense. It's like a system that's intended to do that. And when we act out what they're putting together, that whole play they putting together, then you're deemed. It's like being in a narcissistic culture. They poke you and put you in these impossible situations, and when you fight back or when you react to those situations, then they want to put labels on you. Oh, that's a thug. Oh, black women they too aggressive. And you even think about our struggle and what we had to go through and the things that people are still judging you on just by what you look like. So I feel like it's a rough environment here in this US of A sometimes. It can be very, very biased.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned the word narcissism, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, just think back to our recent past. Who's our last president?
Oh,
Okay,
child.
okay. The ultimate narcissist. All right, but look at the flip side of it. That man is overwhelmingly popular.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you about society?
That
You
says a
know,
lot.
yeah, I mean, you have to look at everything. You have to look at everything for what it's worth. And that's something that I do. I mean, I've been trained that way. Kind of life that I've been through, I have to look at everything. Because the things that you don't will be the one that will determine whether or not you do or don't. You
That's
know, in
right.
a in a lot of cases. But it's just back to what you was just mentioning, narcissism. That's I don't know if that's I think it's some type entity involved too, don't you?
I,
It's a vibe or something. It's some type vibe. I don't understand it. It's something in there. In other words, I just feel that. Do you ever have that feeling?
like
Because
like
I mean,
like he's a like he's
it's
a
a, yeah, you breathing that shit. I mean, but no, but what I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is, think about it. You just mentioned your son, the kind of music they listen to. You can't understand driving. Okay, you can blame a lot of it on evolution,
yeah.
but I mean, you listen to some of the stuff. It just sounds like almost, I mean, demonic sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
It
And
does.
I said, man, where are they getting these ideas from? Where and I sit up and try to listen to it on the radio and try to listen and hear what they are hearing. And I'm sorry, I just don't. As a matter of fact, it gives me headaches. But it's just the way things are. And sadly, I don't see them get any better no time soon. Do you?
You know what? I got hope. I really do
Right.
because I'm already seeing a lot of people. I ain't gonna say turn away from the music, but there are people who are realizing that they are sovereign beings, that they can think for themselves, that they can actually make wise decisions about the health and well-being of their family. I see it increasingly on an everyday basis, and I'll speak from my perspective personally from birth work. I used to see a whole lot of women not really want to be educated about their birth, just really want to get it over with, going in fearful and scared to the pandemic happening and women wanting to give birth at home and not feeling like it was so crazy, but wanting to feel safe. So I feel like there are a lot of events that are occurring that's like really, I don't want to say waking people up. That's so cliche, but that are awakening people to what their potential can be. So I do see the up and up. I'm going to remain optimistic. But there are some who just don't want better, and I send them love too. And for some people, their lifestyle is acceptable. But I do see people like it's like a people who are choosing to do low vibrational things. They just, I don't even want to say low vibrational things, like people who partake in that gossip and hatred and hate speech and us versus them and just all that negativity of judgment. I'm seeing them really being faced with their own selves right now. And then you got people who are really doing the work. And I see it every day with people healing within themselves and then their family and able to come together as a household, set differences aside. So I got hope. I see both sides of the coin pop, but I'm gonna always root for the team. Oh,
Well, I mean, you almost have to because we need the team.
yeah,
But the thing about it is, the ones that you described that that you see that are what you call it awakening or whatever, they're still the minority. You know,
mhm,
and that's the sad thing. We need them all.
mhm.
I think we need each and every one. You'll never get these, but we need more than what we've got now. You know, and and I just don't see that coming. And if it's coming, I don't see it happening fast enough. But hey,
Think about it
I'm
that way.
I'm 60 years old, so maybe hey, I'm 60 years old, so maybe I'm trying to speed things up a little bit.
I feel like every era has like its highs and its lows, right? The 60s, the 70s, the 80s,
Mhm.
90s, whatever. Do you feel like things are steadily progressing or are we going backwards?
Well, I think things are going to always progress. The thing is, does the progression turns into a curse? And I think a lot of our progressions now are going to end up cursing us. I mean, technology for one, greatest thing on earth. You and I are able to sit here and talk to each other like we are now, right? Oh
Yeah.
man, when I was your age, it wasn't even dreamable. I mean, we had cell phones big as you need handles to carry them, and we thought that was technology. Yeah, and we thought that was technology then. But what I'm trying to say is, you have others who want to do harm to us, who are even better than we are at our own technology. And so, and that way, I think that our own technology is going to end up slapping us in the face. And it's because of greed of us. We certain things I feel like that we should keep a certain amount of control over, and govern a little better. And I think our technology is getting out of hand. Now, in the hands of responsible people, I mean, it's beautiful. But you got so many irresponsible people out there, So I'm just gonna, huh?
No, I'm just listening, and you're bringing a lot of things to the forefront because I don't watch the news ever,
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
And people think that's crazy.
What I was gonna say is I watch the news to keep up with when I may have to dig my bum chip. but you can go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just saying I don't watch the news. I mean, I just feel like it's anxiety provoking. I guess I subscribe to some type of media because I'm on Facebook. I just got an Instagram page, but a lot of that stuff, like I got one main social media account. That requires a lot of time. It is so distracting. You get on there looking for one thing and you on there doing something else, on doing this, that, and next thing you know, an hour is gone. That in itself, for me, I got too many kids for that. So I had to limit that. So I feel like that in itself is time consuming one. And then I can hop on there and see some sad stuff or something that makes me angry. And it can take my entire day if I allow it. So for that reason, I limit my time on it, but I don't do like the mainstream news for that reason because I feel like they don't ever have anything good to report. And then people wake up and be like, what the news say today? And they tell me about somebody got shot, got robbed. I'm like, oh. And I know that people are like, well, how do you know what's going on? And I'm a firm believer if I create my own reality. And this is very, very, very what's the word? A lot of people make
scary.
Yeah, but do you think it's scary not to know what's going on outside? Like, you think that's scary?
Well, I mean, I think you're kind of fearful. If that's the way you look at it, maybe denying it. For the simple fact is, you just looking over what's really going on, as ugly as it may be, And really and truly,
it's not going on for me. I know that those things occur. This is nothing new under the sun. I've seen. I've lost, even as a little kid. My friend I lost a very dear friend due to gun violence. I saw somebody murdered in Memphis, Tennessee when I was at work. I've seen my fair share of it. I don't need it to be programmed into my system every day when I know what's out there. I prepare myself mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I just feel like it's a way of giving over power because even watching the news itself is fear-provoking. Like that. And I'm not fearful of what they're saying because I've lived that. A lot of this stuff, not all of it, no. But a lot of that stuff I've seen firsthand. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I work in prison. I've seen some stuff. I've done mental health and psych nursing. I've seen a lot. I've done home health nursing. So I've seen a lot of things that ain't being shown on the news. I've seen a lot of stuff. So it's like, I don't need you to beat this into my head. Where's the change? Don't keep reporting it to me if you ain't doing nothing about it.
Well, yeah. But I mean, it sounds as though you're looking for the news to change it for you. They're just the messengers. You know what I'm
What
saying?
message are they sending? Fear.
Now that's where the question comes in. That you can't always trust them either. But I tell you what, I'd never be an advocate against the news, but I can understand why people don't watch the news sometimes. Because news just a barrel of bad news.
A lot of
But
the stuff people never even experience, but
right.
there's some people I've seen. Like one of my friends, her husband is a police officer, and she's so afraid. They're not in Memphis, but they're in Tennessee, and she's so
Mhm.
afraid every day. And then she's like, I'm afraid to take my son out to go out and play, and because they had the person run around with a gun or whatever, shooting
Mhm.
people. Like that, it makes
Mhm.
people afraid. But how much of that would we have? Like none of this is new. It's always going on. Like all of this stuff is always nothing new under the sun. But now we have media to where a lot of people got their phones out, they showing everything, and it's being displayed, widely displayed easily. So I feel like it can be used as a tool to keep people in prison in fear, because a lot of the stuff you wouldn't even know happened, and it's a chance that it may happen to you, but it's a great chance that it won't. And you're going to base your day, the way you raise your children, the way you do everything off of a story you heard on the news, a story they keep telling on the news. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm not in denial at all.
Right. Right.
I've seen it firsthand, but it's like how much of this are we going to keep feeding to the people and got people scared in their homes? Like, what are we going to do to provide real protection and feeling safe? And, so it makes me think, like, what is the real message? But for people who's following me for the cooking, this is what I've done so far, y'all. Check me out. Oh,
Man, that looks delicious.
this is just my little nighttime salad. Let me tell y'all what I got. I'm going to put my laptop down real quick. So this is I got Kalamata olives today. I had to see
Calamata.
Calamata. Okay, come through, Chantel. You gotta say it. That's
Okay.
how we say it.
Calamata.
Calamata. I love
Yeah.
Calamata olives. I'll either do these or green olives because they're good for my skin, and I be in the sun a lot. Um,
Mhm.
sometimes it can make your skin a little leathery if you're out there and you're not as hydrated as you need to be. And I'm still acclimating to the Florida weather, so I need all the help I can get. So olives are actually fruit. They're seed bearing, and they are a flower from a tree. So, right, Pop, co-sign me on that one.
So
Am I
far,
right?
so good. So
Okay, cool.
far, so good.
All right, the good stuff. So they're full of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties, meaning like if you got any inflammation, any itises, arthritis, gastritis, it lessens like any kind of inflammation or swelling you got in the body or in your lymph nodes or, in the inside or outside. So I love anything that's full of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties. Then I got red bell pepper. Now, I like to eat from the rainbow because red bell pepper kind of like ties me into my root chakra. I'm a yogi, y'all. Yeah, I'm out there for some people. But I like just correlate with my chakra, which is basically an energy center in the body. And this helps me to ground myself, like making sure like my survival instincts and my root things, like my roots are firmly planted. Like I ain't all up there in the cosmos without having firm roots. And then I got my cucumber. Oh, the red bell pepper is amazing for everything. Like it's amazing. So some of the benefits is full of vitamin C. So if you're looking to boost your iron, you want to definitely eat vitamin C rich foods because it helps you absorb that iron. Because you're drinking it and eating iron rich foods, it doesn't mean that you're automatically absorbing it because some things can block the absorption, some things can enhance. Red bell pepper enhances the absorption of iron because it's full of vitamin C. They kind of work together like Batman and Robin. And bell pepper is a fruit as well, not a vegetable. And the cucumber, fruit as well. It's a melon, actually. I didn't know that until recently. And it's full of water. It's hydrating, super, super hydrating. It's one of my favorite summer things to eat. And I say this is a summer salad. I know it's fall, but it's really hydrating in the summer. You lose a lot of hydration due to the sweating and being outside outdoors in the heat. So I like to eat a lot of hydrating food as well as drinking water. So this is why I call it a summer salad, and most people do too. I didn't name this, but cucumber is one of those hydrating foods, and it's also great for lowering the blood pressure. So yep, got my purple onion in there. We already talked about that. And then these tomatoes. I love tomatoes. They're fruit. And I just got some of the little mixed tomatoes, but there's mostly like cherry tomatoes, really, really sweet. Again, tapping into that root chakra. The root chakra signifies the color red. And then tomatoes are just really, really rich in antioxidants, and they're full of water. It's a water containing fruit, so it hydrates you. And this is what I have for my salad tonight. And I want to add a little bit of lime juice, my all-purpose Greek seasoning, no MSG, a little bit of sea salt. It's time to re-up on that. That thing empty. And we're gonna call it a day. Olive oil. Love olive oil. So I add a little bit more olive oil just to, tie it all together. But that's what's going to be my dinner for tonight. I like to eat with the sun, so I eat really light. If I'm going to be eating after 7 p.m. and I don't eat any later than 9 p.m. But that's another show for another day. All right, Pops. That's what I'm cooking. For those who were following me. But back to the topics at hand. Let's get into it. So we've been talking about current events and households and family structures and all of that. So you got, like I said, daughters, granddaughters, you have a wife. How important do you think, because I see a lot of people chiming in on this, how important do you think it is for a child or a woman, a girl, whatever, to have a relationship with her father?
Oh, I think it's vital. I mean, absolutely vital. And it's vital for a child to have a relationship with both parents, because both parents serve two different purposes, and a lot of people don't realize that. And society, and sometimes make it a lot more difficult for young Black fathers, but it's not impossible. Where there's a will, there's a way. And my point is, black men, Black fathers, whatever way you can, stay in touch with your girls. Stay in touch with your girls. They'll appreciate it later, and you will too. It's just simple as that. They have so much to learn from you that they can't learn from any other person in the world. Not even mom. Not even mom. And you can't deny them that.
I think that's powerful. That's powerful when you said that's something they can't learn from any other person. There is no substitute.
None whatsoever.
And just being a parent and, being a child of two parents, I just have witnessing my friends in single parent households, even ones in double parent households where the parent they're physically present, but they're mentally not there. They're not able to really support or don't know how. A lot of people don't have the capacity. Like they're not taught true maternal and paternal instincts. And I say taught because, they're programmed like I think about birth. I relate everything to childbirth. Look at childbirth and how that's always focused and geared just on the woman. It's just now until recently the father was able to cut the cord and catch the baby because he was completely kicked out of that. Like that child is 50% him too. Like, don't you think that child needs part of that to know who they are and what they come from and what they're capable of, or just that connection of knowing that's them, right? And I just think society just kind of, especially like women get into that. I'm a single mama. I can do it all by myself. I don't think that, there's not a thing in this world that a woman can't do. However, should you? Should you? No. And that's why we have a lot of people that grow up broken, because I think both that feminine and masculine energy brings balance into the house, and that brings balance into Like when you have that love, when you show children what love is and how you respect the mother and honor the father, then that's what they learn. Because I see how now my children, my God, they're so teachable. They can see me do one thing one time and they master it just like that. So imagine if we showed them good things and we program them with good things and showing them how to love and nurture themselves and then each other. So I think that can only occur when there is balance in the home, and that brings out balanced individuals.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree, and I mean, and you hit on it several different times. It's just a vicious cycle. So you have mothers and fathers, both they're conditioned to, and they expect it when they'll have children, just expect to be single parents or whatnot. You know, well, just like you just said, well, their daddy ain't gonna be there no way, or vice versa. You know, their mama ain't gonna be there no way. Well, knowing this, why did you get into what you're getting into? You know, I mean, it doesn't really make any sense, but it does. You know, it does. But it's got a thing called hormones and stuff like that that play a part in it. Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of, you'd be surprised that 90% of the children, especially in black families, weren't intentional. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and they're not conditioned to raise the children, and you just see a vicious cycle repeating itself, where the other parent is not even expected to be there. And I figure that's an expectation that shouldn't even exist, but it does.
Oh my goodness, that's so powerful. And blew these locks back. Intentional pregnancies. It's people who, and that's why I feel like it's so important for people to have complete and total autonomy of their bodies and what they want to do with them, because I feel like the end result is a lot of broken families, a lot of unwanted children. And my goodness, people that grow up in broken homes, or not just broken homes, but they tend to grow into broken habits and grow into broken people, and that becomes society. And if that's the majority of what's out here, then what's that to say about us? So intentional pregnancies, I think, is very, very, like, that's huge. Intentional births. That way, you know, dad is committed, and there's no 100% way to know. That's, you know, that way, you know, mama ain't half crazy and gonna take the baby and run off to God knows where, because it's both people. It really just, like, I despise to see saying, people saying it's all women fault, it's all men fault. I feel like it's people fault who don't partake in their own healing, because hurt people. And if they don't heal, then they take that stuff out. They just project what's already in. Like, I've personally dealt with people using children as pawn. Oh, you ain't giving me the time today. I'm gonna take this baby and run, and then tell the kids lies, and then the kids developing complexes. It is a whole hot mess when you out here mentally unstable and procreating. So we need to make sure we know, like, being responsible, and that's part of being responsible for yourself. You're not just laying down with anybody. You know, you're not just shooting up the club with anybody. You want to make sure that you got a partner, just in case this happens and we gonna have to raise a child together, that you equipped for the ride, not just somebody who's there for the moment. And if you want somebody that's there for the moment, then you probably need to take precautions, so it's not a whole hot mess and you're having to deal with it, or partaking in somebody's demise or ruining their life because you aren't healed and you're not ready to own up to your stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, yeah. I mean, everything you're saying is true, but the catch is everything you're saying requires a certain amount of discipline.
Facts.
You know, and that discipline is what's so evasive. You know, I mean, until you nail down that discipline. I mean, you're just gonna have the same story recreate itself. You know, it takes discipline. You know.
I think that is so true, and that's something that I've learned hands down in my personal journey is discipline. A lot of people say they want things, they want to achieve things, and especially in this society, when you look on Facebook and see somebody live a certain way or got something you want, oh, I want that, but you don't know the story behind it. And most of that, I know my goals, they require discipline, me doubling down, owning up to my stuff, my shortcomings, things I need to work on, and saying, hey, let me work on that, and using that perceived weakness to build myself up and make it a strength. It's like challenging myself. So discipline, I 100% agree. And I just think that it's going to partake people just taking the initiative to say, hey, I want better. And I'm willing to do what it takes. A lot of people just lazy. I just messing wrong for me tonight. Just like, don't be waiting on somebody to make choices for you and then complain about the choices that they made. So, that's me, and that's my little spiel. I think that you were absolutely informative. I would love to have you back on because, of course, this is limited with our time. But my goodness, you brought in so many great and valid points, and I'd love to see you cooking in the kitchen.
Yeah, I'd love to cook for you.
Yeah. I gotta get back down to Memphis. I'm not in Colorado anymore. Up to Memphis to get some more of that good home cooking. No place in the world has food like Memphis, Tennessee. It just can't be replicated and duplicated. It's the soul of the area. Ain't no place like it.
We know how to eat.
I'm telling you. Eat and just have a good time. Like I remember, like back in the day when I used to drive down Hollywood Street to see the people out there playing the music and dancing and barbecuing and just celebrating Friday. I used to say, "Oh Lord, I'm in the hood." I used to hit the gas, get up out of here. And now I'm those types of experiences because that's culture. That's what I'm about. And you know, I realized just how rich that area was, and it still is. And I just pay homage to Memphis. There's no place like home. I've lived all over this country, but I pay homage to Memphis for the people, the culture, and the food. My goodness, yeah, that's home. So Chef Tim, we're gonna have you back on this thing if you'll come back at some point and cook for us. We would love to get some history on, you know, how you cook the way you cook. I know you got some tips and some secrets. You might not let us in on all your secrets, but I know you can lend a few to us. Okay.
I can enlighten you on a little something.
I appreciate that so much. Well, infinite gratitude for you stopping by. I was so excited about this gathering. I'm talking about I was lit and just like had this on my planner, and we definitely gonna have to do this again soon. I feel like it's a great bonding experience. I'm learning so much. And then your perspective is always interesting because you're so intelligent, of course, and that's where I get it from. So intelligent. No, but you are. And my mama always says that. She always just always bragging about how smart of a man you are. So that is absolutely positively true. We're so glad that you stopped by to give us some insight, give us some scoop. We would love to have you back. Any last words of advice for the people?
Oh, just anything for my baby girl. And you just let me know when and how much you need me to do. All righty.
All right.
I really enjoyed this.
Likewise.
You enlightened me on a lot of things too.
Oh my goodness. That's an honor right there. Yeah. My day, hey, for real. And I mean it. So I'm gonna go salad. And y'all have a good night. Great love to y'all. Love you, Pops. I will see you on Facebook tomorrow. Hit me up though.
Oh, you already know.
Good night. Peace and abundance, Soul Tribe.
Bye-bye.